These days, for men, it can feel like there's nowhere to hide. Women have taken to the streets and are calling out men with explicit demands.
Nice guys need to step the fuck up.
Politicians are making passionate speeches, exposing misogyny.
I was offended when the leader of the opposition stood next to a sign that described me as a man's bitch. I was offended by those things. Misogyny, sexism, every day from this leader of the opposition.
We're shamed by glossy ads for simply being men.
Bullying.
The Me Too movement against sexual harassment.
Masculinity.
Is this the best a man can get?
Older men are retaliating on telly with provocative rants.
You know, the whole agenda is being driven by radical feminists who want to expunge masculinity.
While the young are rallying to this sort of controversial content from influencers like Andrew Tate.
By reducing masculinity as a whole, you're reducing the warriors of society. They don't want...
Some are questioning our very future.
Are people even gonna have dicks in the future? It just seems like everything's going away so fast, man.
Yeah, they're trying to do that with this.
Is this even a joke? I'm Danny Dyer, and I'm heading off around the country to talk to a few geezers. Does it taste like Mansfield?
I won't drink if it tastes like Mansfield.
To find out what's going on.
Geezers are becoming more feminine. All the men 100 years ago, they'd all be way stronger, bigger beards.
Has masculinity become toxic?
It's almost becoming shameful to actually want to be masculine.
Do everyday blokes feel under attack?
The police officer said, "Do you want to grow yourself a set of balls, son?"
And is there really a war?
It was one of the worst times in my life.
On men. Is there a war on masculinity? I mean, I would say, fuck knows. I don't know. That would be my initial reaction to that. Clearly, there's some shit going down. And I think men, certain men maybe, or maybe a lot of men, are sort of resenting it a little bit. Does every man need a room? This is my little plot, which used to be a utility room. I was brought up in a council estate, very small houses, small bedrooms. You know, everything was small, which I like. I find comfort in it. And it's all this shit that I like, West Ham being one of them. This is a throwback to EastEnders. And also I'm quite into like old comics and shit as I've got older. I've got my CCTV that I can, you know, look at, see if anyone's about. Right, OK, so we're going to do the toxic masculinity test. This is an online test designed to help you find out if you're a toxic man. You've got disagree or agree, 2 green bars, 2 red bars. The question is, men should use violence to get respect if necessary. No, they shouldn't really, should they? You know, use your brains. People sometimes bother me just by being around me. Yes, they do. Especially this film crew. Question 3, I have mocked manly women or girly men with derogatory sexual slurs. No. I would be willing to steal $1 million if I knew I would never get caught. Is there anything toxic? I mean, whose million is it? It depends on the meal, doesn't it? Yes, I would be willing if it was Rupert Murdoch. A guy who doesn't fight back when others push him around is weak. Yes, yes. I wouldn't pretend to like someone just to get them to do favours for me. Yeah, I agree with that one. A guy who spends a lot of time on his looks isn't very manly. No, I disagree with that one. Some very handsome men out there, men incredibly attractive. So I'm gonna have to disagree on that. Disagree. No. No. Right, OK, so the results are in. 7% more heteronormative than the average person, 9% less homophobic than the average person, and 12% more prone to toxic masculinity than the average person overall. Who's the fucking average person, though? It's fucked me off, that is. I half want to do it again and just lie through the whole thing. That'll teach him. But even when I cheat, the test still tells me I'm toxic. Toxic masculinity. What is it? I mean, I've always struggled with the idea of what toxic masculinity is.
Turns out it began in America as a kind of self-improvement term for men.
Today, Lady Justice is staring down a super predator.
But with Weinstein and #MeToo, the term really took off online.
We had Donald Trump as a president of America, clearly very misogynistic.
Nobody respects women more than Donald Trump, that I can tell you.
But a lot of people like him, a lot of people got it. A lot of people are tapping into Andrew Tate at the moment for some reason. It's definitely a society thing, this toxic masculinity thing. I understand it's there, but being a man for, you know, nearly 45 years, I'm only starting to become aware of it. You know, if I look at myself, have I got some toxic masculinity traits? I probably have, yeah. But I don't feel that men are better than women in any way, shape or form.
You got to understand where I'm coming from. Most of what I grew up with is probably now considered toxic.
I come from a place called Custom House in East London, which is a very masculine environment. All men are alphas. They get pissed, they go to work, they provide. The wife stays indoors, make sure there's a dinner on the table. That was the sort of late 80s, early 90s, so it's a very different era, very, very different time. It was all stuff I took as an actor, which I then played out in my films.
All right, sweetheart. You all right, girl, yeah? You all right? What do you want to drink?
And I think that represented masculinity, not necessarily toxic masculinity, but masculinity in the films that I was making.
When I get out of here, I'm going to put one right through your nut. If you get out, you ginger cunt.
I realise now we're a million miles away from that, and that's not the thing at all. I'm still learning about what makes a good man.
One man who should know is my younger brother, Tony.
Here we are. Here we are. Good to see you.
Thank you, bro.
He's a lovely fella. He's a good dad and husband, and he would not hurt a fly. Must be the least toxic bloke I know.
Isn't it mad, isn't it, being around here?
I know.
Our old manor.
We're back at the gaff where me, Tony, and our sister Kaylee grew up in the 80s.
Well, what it reminds me of more than anything is when Dad fucked off. You know, because, you know, this was the moment where all of a sudden we was, you know, no father figure in the house.
My memories of Dad is just being horrible to Mum and the arguments. So the day that Mum said that he'd moved out was the day of joy for me.
He didn't understand you because you didn't conform to what being a man was or what a boy was. Your best mate was Aaron, who lived over there. She was
a girl, yeah.
Still is
my closest friend.
You didn't like football. When Kaylee came along, you would play with her dolls, her Barbies. Straight away, if he's playing with dolls, he's gay.
Yeah, he's very narrow-minded. If you didn't like football, none of the boys wanted to play with you.
This is why I sort of envy you now. Back in the day, it was a nightmare for me because I just, you know, I was constantly having to sort of fight your battles or try and explain why, actually, you're going to go and play hopscotch or you was doing skipping. You just did you. You didn't play any games, and it's exhausting trying to keep up with what a boy or a man is supposed to be. Let's have a little mooch about, eh? Me and my brother, who came out the same womb, had the same upbringing, but we're so different. I've got so much respect for him. Never in a million years would have I had the bollocks to have picked up a doll if I wanted to play with a doll. Just not what boys do, you know? So I look back on it and I think, fucking good for you, bro. Fucking good for you. Fucking hell, it's so different, Tony. Fuck.
The skateboard pitch is still there,
Yeah. First saw someone take crack here.
Really?
Good deterrent for going, well, I don't think I'll be dabbling in crack, you know, cut to 20 years later. Not you, of course.
No.
But, masculinity, I mean, what is it? What does it represent to you?
The stereotypical masculinity thing is a strong man.
Provides.
Provides, yeah.
Protects.
Yeah, doesn't show any emotion, bottles everything up. But I think that's an old school type of masculinity.
This Andrew Tate, he pops up a lot. What do you make of him in a sense of?
He's a narrow-minded man that represents a small minority.
He's tapping into something, though, Tone. There's a reason why he's got so many followers. There's a reason why he's been a success in some of the stuff that he's spouted.
Well, that doesn't mean being misogynistic and treating women like objects. That doesn't make you be a man,
Of course
does
it doesn't, no.
Andrew Tate's loud-mouthed anti-feminist rants have attracted him millions of followers worldwide.
Feminism goes out the fucking window the second that the snow needs shoveling, or there's a fucking broken down car, or the tire needs changing. Then all that crap vanishes. It's garbage.
If there wasn't no social media, there would be no Andrew Tate. I remember back in the day, I think Andrew Tate tried to be in Big Brother. So he was looking for fame, and that was his only avenue in. Now he's the most Googled man on the planet, apparently. So there's disciples, there's other little youngsters that are going, oh, I like what he's doing, I'm going to do the same thing.
So-called alpha culture has exploded online with young guys spreading homegrown, misogynistic content. Just outside London, there's an influencer putting his stuff out, mostly from his mum and dad's garage.
You all right, mate? Oh, yeah. Good to see you.
Now 20, Ed Matthews has become a big noise with provocative content like this.
How many females show hatred, misandry towards men? So many. You'll never see the media show it, though, because they don't give a fuck about the men.
How have you become TikTok famous? Because, well, you got 160,000 followers?
Oh, no. I had 800,000 at one point.
You had 800,000?
Got deleted.
Why'd you get deleted?
Apparently bullying and harassment, but it was all business.
What sort of age range would you say your followers are?
I've had people from 13 to 40 come up to me. I'd say it's just a lot of men.
Mostly men, yeah?
Mostly men, but the females are starting to grow on me. Well, they'll probably just fancy me.
Yeah?
So you never know.
Is that what it is, yeah?
Much of Ed's content is a mashup of contemporary suburban youth culture and old-fashioned prudishness.
Bruv, imagine your ting, your future wife, has had 30 other willies inside her. Fuck that. Even like 5 or 7. Mate, I ain't involved.
So tell us a little bit about how you got into this, you know, how you started to, you know, get these views and...
I just feel like over the last 5 years, 10 years, you may not even notice it, but men have become very oppressed. Geezers are becoming more feminine. Look at all the men 100 years ago, they'd all be way stronger, bigger beards at 17, 16, 18. If you look now, you've got 25-year-olds with no beards.
So some of the comments you made online with, you know, women, young women, older women, do you regret any of that, any of the stuff you've said?
So if you're overweight and I called you fat, well, you are. What is wrong with me saying that? I'm just stating a fact. So, yeah, I feel like fat shaming is all right. Get in the gym. Get in the gym, mate. You need it.
Body counts.
Yeah.
What's your views on it with women and men?
If a woman sleeps with 100 geezers, she's worthless. It's like gold. If it was everywhere and anyone could have it, it loses its value.
That's not even a new age thing, I think. You know, a woman's a slag for sleeping with loads
yeah, it's
of
like
people.
the kings.
Whereas a geezer, you know, that's from the dawn of time. Why do you think that is, though? You know.
I feel like it's because a woman is the one getting penetrated. They say if once your woman sleeps with over 5 people, then they find it a lot harder to actually be satisfied with... No, but it's true. Once your woman sleeps with 5 people, they find it harder to be satisfied with a certain man because they've been with so many.
Some of the shit he's saying, I mean, I don't think he believes half of it, really. He wants followers, he wants likes. You know, you've got to be slightly controversial for people to pay attention to you. Andrew Tate, one of his quotes was, you need sort of 40% at least of people that like you and 60% that hate you. What would you say to people that would say that you're misogynistic?
I might have said a couple misogynistic things. So what? I love women. I am generally nice to girls. The girls that don't like me are the strong, independent feminists who feel like they're empowered by their sexuality. They're the deluded people that may not like me. But you'd never hear about the girls saying misandry.
What is that?
Exactly. You've never heard
it. So that's the flip side to misogyny.
There's so many girls out here that will attack men, say this about men, oh, I hate all men, fuck. You don't hear it.
It was fucking weird and very uncomfortable for me. I'm a 45-year-old man, I sort of look at him and go, well, OK, you're young, you're sort of early 20s, you've got a fucking whole journey to go on. But I'm not going to get on my aisles and start telling him how to behave, because we're all fucking unique human beings. But I feel he's going to fucking learn the hard way, this kid.
My little boy who's 9, he's really smart, but he's got a phone now. And so the other day, his mum said to me, oh, you know he likes Andrew Tate? And I went, what? I said, so you like Andrew Tate? He went, yeah, Dad, he's a top G. And I went, right, OK, but you do know he says, like, really fucking stupid things. And he went, yeah, but he's still a top G. It is flowing through every school, even here. I mean, it's, you know, America, here, you know, all across Europe. It's integrating into young boys' souls. And that's all they need, because it's a tough time to be a boy. At school, they're behind girls at every level, from early years to SATs, GCSEs, A-levels, university admissions and degrees. They've got to figure out sex and relationships in the post-Me Too era, and that's a minefield. And they've got toxic alpha influencers promising them empowerment, making them feel good about themselves.
The Times recently reported that schools across the UK are in crisis as the effects of online influencer Andrew Tate's vile misogyny infiltrates our classrooms and society.
I'm at an academy in North London to try and find out what's going on. Have our schoolboys really been infected with a toxic masculine virus?
All good, take a seat, boys. Thank you, first of all, for coming here. It's an interesting subject at the moment. A lot of men out there are struggling. They don't quite know what you're allowed to be as a man. Who here, and be straight, it's a tricky one, this. Who here likes Andrew Tate?
I don't know, it's 50-50.
It's 50-50? What do you mean?
I agree with some of the things, but when he starts being silly, going off track, that's when he loses me.
I think some of his views about women are quite extreme.
It's misogyny.
I feel like Andrew Tate could have been such a good role model. I mean, he has great ideas about how a man should be, but he uses his platform in order to, like, kind of badly influence men.
OK.
Some of you have been spoken to about bringing his name up in lessons as though it's a positive thing. Why do you think, as staff, we are pulling you up on that if you talk about Andrew Tate?
I mean, I see a lot of boys in my classes. They used to talk about, like, they're not going to get homework from female teachers. I guess they got influenced more by his ideas of, like, men being superior and stuff.
I to mention Andrew Tate. There's another guy who I've interviewed called Ed Matthews, who is TikTok famous for being a bit of a disciple of Andrew Tate. Does anyone know who he is?
Yeah.
You do?
And have you heard of Sneeko?
No.
He's another one. They all kind of follow him.
They ain't saying much in front of their teacher and the cameras, but they're clearly familiar with Tate and his disciples.
That's interesting, actually.
And then the chat takes a different turn.
There's toxic masculinity and there's also toxic feminism.
So what would you say toxic feminism is?
Toxic feminism is probably a hate towards men and just believing they're all violent creatures.
OK.
You take a man and then you say, all men are this. It's silly. It's rubbish. You shouldn't do that.
I say it's quite unjust because they kind of, especially in media now, they're very much kind of like classing all men as this terrible thing.
Yeah.
And that people need to understand that that's a very small portion of people.
They were quite erudite and articulate, these kids, but very different to when I was a kid. Especially since the pandemic, I think that kids have been more driven into their phones on iPads and social media. I think I'm so grateful that I was fucking brought up in the 80s where I didn't have to deal with none of that shit. It just wasn't about, you know what I mean? If your mates were going to come round, they knock on your fucking door, you go out on your bike. You know, there was a landline. That's how you answered the phone. You know, if you weren't in, you missed that call. No one can fucking trace you. I think there's something in that, and I fear for the youngsters now. It's a dangerous time, and I wish I fucking knew what the answer was. I really do.
So I've come to Mansfield in Nottinghamshire to meet sometimes controversial, often outspoken MP Ben Bradley.
Danny.
Here he is.
How you doing?
Good to meet you, Ben.
Welcome to Mansfield.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Forest
Love
Town
it. There's
Arena.
a Mansfield Massive.
Here they are.
Having it large.
to find out why he thinks ordinary men and boys are buying into toxic, old-school masculinity.
One of my great passions and the campaign I most regularly return to in this place, Madam Deputy Speaker, is that of working-class boys in areas like Mansfield and in other parts of the country where there's deep and entrenched disadvantage.
There you go, see? So it ain't quite a Guinness. It's, do you like a Mansfield dark?
Yeah, I'm all really...
It's all right if you don't. Let's have a go on it. Does it taste like Mansfield?
Define. How does Mansfield taste? There's a question. It tastes like Mansfield, Jesus.
I love the fact he's a northern kid and he's stuck to his roots. I really respect that. I mean, I come from a fuckhole, but Mansfield, Jesus Christ. What chance do you stand?
3 times as many men as women die by suicide. Men report lower levels of life satisfaction, but are less likely to access psychological therapies. Nearly 3/4 of adults who go missing are men. 87% of rush sleepers are men. Men are 3 times as likely to become dependent on alcohol or drugs, more likely to be sectioned under the Mental Health Act, more likely to be a victim of violent crime. And of course, men make up the vast majority of the prison population. These figures really put that male privilege in perspective, Madam Deputy Speaker.
I saw one of your speeches in Parliament and it was really interesting to me. Is it fair to say there is a war on men at the moment?
I wouldn't say war on men, but I think we've ended up in this place where we look at equality in the wrong way, and it's almost like in order to help other people, you've got to drag men down, right? And that's not healthy. The majority of the conversation about helping women is positive. The majority of the conversation in the same space about boys is the negative one, is the toxic masculinity, is the male privilege, is the whatever.
Do you think we should be celebrating being masculine?
Yeah, and if you're a young lad growing up here, you're probably looked at as a bit of a hoodie, a bit of a chav, a bit of whatever, rather than as somebody positive or that's celebrated. Old boys from here are gammons in the public eye, right? There's nothing to celebrate there, which isn't right and isn't the case.
It's a very, very working class place, and you know, a lot of young working class men that are really lost and just disenfranchised. Where do they turn? Who have they got to talk to about shit? You know, no one. No chance do they stand in society.
We've been brought up to be providers and to do all of that.
To protect.
Yeah, historically, to put your energy into that, right? Your dad will have told you, you go out, you work, you provide for your family, that's what you're for.
Yeah.
And actually, in some ways, if you think that and if you want to do that, you're sexist or you're dragging women down somehow. It's not healthy.
Well, it's being called toxic masculinity. You've got the few bad eggs that I suppose that we're all being tarnished with that fucking same brush, aren't we?
Yeah. It's a media thing, right? I think everyone likes a bit of kind of over-the-top coverage and spark a bit of controversy, don't they?
Ben has been mocked for proposing a kind of champion for men in government, just like there is for women.
You know, I said, all right, why don't we have a minister who looks at that? Absolutely slated. And these issues don't matter, these issues aren't real. Men are privileged and men are whatever. It's just nonsense.
There's so much anger and so much division. There's so much shit going on.
Yeah. I just think more people need to get involved in the conversation. We see it in politics all the time, don't we? If you're too scared to have the sensible conversation, some nutters on the far end will come in and they'll have the conversation instead, and then we all get the toxic brand. Well, that's where you end up with the Andrew Tates, right? Because if you can't get, and I'm glad you're doing this because I think it's important, if you don't fill the conversation with a sensible discussion about it, then there's a big old void, and the Andrew Tates come into it.
And that's why we have Andrew Tate. I absolutely believe that the reason Andrew Tate is a thing, and a huge thing, is because men are being ignored. I think it's a throwback to men having it their own way for so long. For some reason, men are just forgotten about in that sense. And there will be people fucking screaming at the telly at this, but that's how I feel. And that's how a lot of men feel. Decent men, you know?
Here is the list from Counting Dead Women and the Femicide Census of women killed where the primary suspect or known killer is a man since this time last year. Sabita Thanwani, Yasmin Begum, Shatira Bibi.
Every year on International Women's Day, this depressing ritual plays out.
Emma Bailey, Ramona Stoyer.
It's a shockingly long list. 107 last year.
Susan Ferrance. Katie Kane.
The internationally used term violence against women and girls covers a range of crimes, including sexual offences, stalking and domestic abuse. And let's face it, the perpetrators are almost always men.
It's an epidemic level of violence against women and girls that we are experiencing here.
But men can be victims as well as perpetrators. And sometimes men need somewhere to turn to.
Hello, how you, Danny? Welcome to MFCC.
Give me some love.
Oh, we definitely
Pleasure.
some love.
Pleasure.
Actually, there's an awful lot of love for you in the room, so please come and meet the team.
OK. Hello, everybody. How are you all?
We're a feminist organisation, but not today.
I'm always happy to help.
This is Gary. Gary works at the Male Refuge. Want to come through, get a cup of coffee?
Absolutely.
Or
Lead the way, please.
The Male Refuge here in Newtown was revolutionary. The first of its kind in the UK when it opened nearly 20 years ago.
So Montgomery Family Crisis Centre is an organisation. We've been going for over 40 years. It was very much a women's aid organisation. Then we realised children need support, and then men, because we had male victims who had nowhere to go. Back in 2006, when we thought, well, do we need a refuge? When we sat round and talked about it, we said, well, what is it we need? And of course, the only thing we knew was how we ran the women's refuge. We said, well, why don't we just make it a mirror image and see if it works? So the provision we've got for the men is a mirror image of the support we give for women.
Wow. So when you announced that you was going to open a male refuge, I mean, how did the sector react?
There was a couple of times I went to meetings and everybody would be rammed in one side of the room and I'd be sitting on my own. And I did go to one organisation for a training session and I wasn't allowed to have lunch with them.
No.
Yeah. I think at that time there was very much along the lines of we just don't believe women could be abusers.
Really?
But also there was a big scare that, hang on, there's only one pot of money for domestic abuse and that money's going to go, and it should go to women. Now, as the years went on, it has all changed, and everybody offers some kind of level of support for men. But I'm just going to be honest, the amount of money we do spend on male services is very small compared to what we spend on female.
We know that most domestic violence is by men, of course we do. But women are, you know, capable of it as well. I didn't realise how much it's going on. As a man, what do you do about it? Because we are physically stronger than women, so, you know, if a man is struggling with some domestic abuse at home by a woman, you can't go and tell people because it's fucking embarrassing. So we're on the way now to the location. Obviously, it's a secret location, of course, it goes without saying. Tell me about some of the things that you've seen.
I've been shown the bruising and damaging that some of them have experienced, especially defensive wounds when they've been attacked by the perpetrator. There's a lot of wounds on the outside of their arms or when they're holding themselves up.
Just trying to protect themselves.
To defend themselves.
Because in general, men are, you know, physically stronger.
Yeah.
So the idea that you would have to, you know, have to just suffer the beating.
They can't fight back.
No.
Because the minute they fight back, they know that that's going to be used against them. It's about domestic abuse. Doesn't matter what the gender is, it's domestic abuse, and it's a crime. And everyone deserves a good life, and everyone, you know, should be treated the same and have the same resources available to help and support them.
According to the latest government stats, just over 29% of domestic abuse victims, including both violence and coercive control, are men. But only 6% of refuge spaces are available for male victims.
So this is the way we bring new clients in.
So you'd never bring them in through the front door, can you?
No. It's secure there with a lockable gate, obviously.
Right.
So we bring them in through the back door and then we always make sure it's locked. The back door is always locked for security. This is the communal kitchen. Good for the men to get together.
Yeah. How many people can you have here at one time?
We've got 4 bedrooms.
Okay.
So we can have 4 adults and 3 children. Currently, we've got 2 people in the property, but we could have a phone call tomorrow and they'll be full.
Always ready, waiting to
Always ready,
take
yeah.
someone on, okay.
Gary's arranged for me to meet a couple of the geezers he's helping. This man had been sleeping rough after escaping his violent partner.
I really appreciate you talking to me. I didn't realise these places existed, all right? So tell me a little bit about your story.
Well, I was with a girl down in West Wales.
Yeah.
A lot of problems, like you're drinking a lot. Drinking to blackout, like if she went out on a bender, she come back screaming, shouting, hit with things thrown at you, ornaments, all sorts. Police have been called out by neighbours. She'd say, oh, it's him, he's pulled my hair, or...
And 9 times out of 10, the police are going to believe the
Yeah.
woman over the man.
The last time they did arrest me, took me to the police station for the night. But then she was phoning up all night. They told her which station I was in. And she was back on my case as soon as I got out of there. Like, part of it, you know, you feel sorry for them and you think, oh, I can help sort you out and all that, but it just got worse and worse.
This man and his son came to the refuge in fear for their lives and are now in the process of reintegrating into the community.
And so you came in with your son?
Yeah.
And tell me how you ended up here.
Well, the wife was having episodes, shall we say, and she was getting more and more frightening.
So what sort of stuff, you know, was you scared of your life? I mean, what...
Oh, we were sleeping with our clothes on.
Why?
In case something happened. We were sleeping in shifts. The money was a big issue. I mean, I was trying to save money to pay the bills. And she was spending it, and then she was having a go at me because there was no money.
Because there was no money, yeah.
If I said, no, you can't have that money because I want to pay the bills, she would say I'm abusing her because I'm withholding money.
So what's this place give you? And I mean, what stage are you at with this process?
It gave us hope, you know, it gave us company, it gave us safety. It gave us somewhere where we could think, where would we go from here? You know, the staff here are great, people are great, you know, got a new future.
You're sort of come back on the other side now.
I'm beginning to come back on the other side now.
Thankfully, here they take men seriously as victims and as responsible parents. All too often, deeply ingrained notions of masculinity either prevent male victims from being believed or stop them from asking for help in the first place.
It's fucking revelation to me that, you know, some men just have to go and hide and take their kids and, you know, hide away somewhere. And they were broken, man. They was on their fucking knees. It gave me a bit of heart that there are some people out there trying to do something about it, but there should be places for men to go to, because they'll end up with men snapping and doing something fucking stupid because they've got nowhere to go or talk to anyone about it.
It's a big step for a man to admit that he's been abused by a woman. And one young lad in particular, he related a story where he plucked up enough courage, he'd had enough. He went to the police, made a complaint, and the police officer said, you want to grow yourself a set of balls, son?
You think there's a lot of men out there that don't come to these places because they're embarrassed, their pride.
I think they're the youngsters of today are more aware that there is help, but people that say my age, it is like a macho thing, and I can't
masculinity, see?
Yeah, I can't cry for how will my mates react when I tell them my wife's abusing me? I know what they'll say to me. Man up, what's the matter with you?
Yeah.
Sort it out. That's the wrong advice.
Of course it is. That's what society expects of men. You know, if you really do scratch the surface, man up, grow a pair of bollocks. I mean, it's very confusing, isn't it? Okay, yeah, maybe I should be a man about it. What, and go home and give her a fucking clump? What? It's very, you know, what does that actually fucking mean?
What they've done in Mid-Wales is a big step forward, but too many people seem to think there's something wrong with men as a whole. Every week, around 1,000 custody cases go to family court. Official stats showing success rates for fathers and mothers are not released, despite attempts by activists to find out. Desperate dads have been campaigning for decades, resorting to noisy, controversial protests. And they claim, in the vast majority of cases, custody is awarded to the mother, who is seen as the better, safer parent. And this can have tragic consequences.
Hello, please come in. Not too bad.
I'm meeting a man who spent years fighting for custody of his child.
Hello. How are you?
Matthew has agreed to meet at his mum and dad's house. Ivana, his wife, is also here to support him, and they have 2 boys who are at school.
Proper little spread.
But we're here to talk about Matthew's first son from his previous partner, Archie.
I just really want you to tell me your story, really.
In 2010, my son Archie was born with a C-section. I was the first person to hold him. He was my everything. 6 months later, my ex and I split up. Wasn't a very nice time. On the night that we split up, she came at me with a rounder's back baseball bat. I left with Archie to try and protect him, to go to her sister's just around the corner. The police came, they took Archie off me. I then got told to leave the area, not knowing if my son's okay or not. Went back to my parents. It was one of the worst times in my life. She stopped contact with Archie, so I wasn't able to see my son. I think she believed that I should have just walked away and just kept feeding her money. And I couldn't walk away from my son.
Matthew tried to get access to his son through the courts.
She made up allegations I was an alcoholic, drug user, all sorts. The court ordered 1 hour every fortnight at a contact centre.
So under supervision?
So under supervision.
Wow.
We had lots of paperwork, as you can imagine, and I did flowcharts of what happened. This is just one of them. Domestic incident report, and that's just the beginning.
Wow.
These domestic violence, nothing's proved, and I've got pages and pages.
And on.
I had hair follicle samples. I had my medical records looked at with a fine-tooth comb. Then all the allegations that she created were proved to be false.
Matthew's access increased, but his ex ignored or breached multiple court orders, forcing him back to court each time. And all along, he was worried for the safety of his son.
He used to come regularly to me with bruises on him. And the one time there's almost fingerprints on his leg. I asked him how he got those. His comment was, "Mummy held me upside down and shook me." He was 4 at the time, I believe. I reported that to the school, the doctor, the police. In 2017, we went back to court. I went into court, she never showed up. The judge indicated that because of her not actually showing up, he'll give her one last chance. And they set a new court date. Got home that evening, the police turned up. She had murdered my son. She murdered him. I cannot understand how a parent could do that to their own child. My whole world just fell apart.
Wow. So sorry. I was hoping and praying that the worst part of the story was going to be that he just hasn't seen his son in 2 years or something like, and he can't see his son again. And then when he told me that she'd murdered him, it makes me so fucking angry that people have allowed this to happen. You just lose all faith in humanity when you hear a story like that, and it's not even about a gender thing for me now. The system has to fucking change. Like you said, this has happened before and it's happened since, and it will keep going on if we just assume at all times that it must be the man that's abusing a child. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm a very domesticated goddess. I've only got me marigolds when I pick the shit up in the garden for me dog, young Debs. I think we have had a good run as men, especially with pay and shit like that, and where we've been put within society over the years, we have had a good run at it. There's no two ways about that. But for me personally, as a man who's pushing 50, I've got my mental health issues. I've got a few chins now. I've got a pair of tits. I'm happy though, I must say, as a man. I think I'm a decent man. I'm a kind man. I'm a good man. I love my children. I love my missus. At the moment, I fucking hate her at the moment, but I won't go into that. That's a whole nother show. But clearly, there is some sort of war going on.
So where do men go from here? Sit about being victims, or stand up for who we are and what we believe in? There's one group of blokes that has been doing just that for a very long time.
I've left the Queen Vic.
I've come to meet members of the Brighton Gay Men's Chorus down the pub after their regular Tuesday night rehearsal.
You're more than welcome anytime.
Much appreciated.
It's the rest of them I have to worry about.
Oh, really? No. I love being around gay men. I do. They've had to fight a lot to be accepted in society, and there's still some areas of society that they're not accepted.
They seem like a happy bunch, but most have grown up with prejudice. So how have they overcome that?
Singing with a group of men I find really, really joyful, especially seeing as, you know, when I got to secondary school, I stopped all singing completely because I was scared of it being girly, I was scared of singing being gay. So, like, fighting through the perceptions of what a man is, and then, you know, saying, oh, I don't care about any of that, I'm just going to do me. And finding a community that accepts that is really important as well.
Of course.
And to share your stories when you're not okay. And this choir is a great example of that, you know. I think, you know, some of us would say it's a bit like the Lonely Hearts Brigade sometimes. Like, there's lots of people who've been through a lot of things, and actually we've all come together and we do talk to each other about our feelings and what's going on, and, you know, if we're having a shit day and we're struggling a bit, we talk to one another about it, which is, for me, like, has been a great support.
These blokes have spent more time than most thinking about their masculinity.
What does a man represent for you now?
I think for me there's no real set thing of what a man is. I think everybody's kind of different in what that means to them and who they are. It's just about being you.
I think we've got more flexibility to be a bit feminine, a little bit masculine sometimes. And
this is the thing, and as a straight man, I sort of envy the fact that you can actually express yourself and flit in and out of both.
I think we've had to work quite hard to get there.
Absolutely.
I went to an all-boys school, which was, this is what a man is, and, you know, as I grew up, I was like, I don't feel like this, and I feel massively excluded from that, and what do I do about that? And then I think as you take your time, you kind of grow into yourself.
So it's okay to be gay and masculine at the same time?
Yeah, it's really oppressive to think, oh my God, I've been, like, all my whole life I've been conditioned to behave in a certain way. But in fact, you don't have to.
No.
You can do it a different way.
I just feel that it's a bit of a lost generation at the moment, or it has been.
I think men feel attacked, though. I think men feel like, you know, kind of in defence of themselves in a way, but it's leading to this kind of toxic side.
It's almost becoming shameful to actually want to be masculine. It shouldn't be.
I think a lot of that shame comes from how we treat children. We ask girls, how are you feeling? Your dress is beautiful. We kind of train them to think about their emotions. But for boys, we kind of say, what did you do today? It's kind of your character. What have you achieved? So now when we have emotional problems, we've never been trained to actually express it.
What do you think the future holds for men at the moment, the way it's going?
I feel that quite positive, to be honest. Most of us here have done therapy. We've worked through quite a lot of stuff. and then we're going on to be parents, hopefully, or supportive uncles and whatever, and seeing our families, kind of the next generation, being a lot more gentle and caring and supportive, and you see that in the youth. So I think then there'll be a new kind of masculinity.
I think it's actually going to have a lot of impact having someone like you, Danny, that's probably a lot of these masculine men can identify with, actually getting involved and actually asking the questions.
This is the time when people are seeing things. They've seen every other group question things and explain things, but we haven't seen masculinity spoken about in this way. And we've got a lot of things clumped into it, the aggression, the misogyny, etc. So there really hasn't been a clear definition of what it is.
I'm hoping that this film is going to raise debate, if nothing else, and get people talking, and you know, less of this fucking division and you're that, we're that, fuck you type vibe, you know?
A different way.
Own who the fuck you are.
These fellas give me hope for the future. They've overcome adversity. They support each other. And they make me feel good to be a man.
We're proud to be men, yeah? Yeah. Because it's raining fucking men.
They can teach all men a thing or two for sure.
What does the future hold for men? Because at the moment, men are in a weird place.
I think there is so much pressure for young boys growing up.
Men are struggling in many ways, and there seems to be a lot of help for women at the moment, but not much for men.
This has become quite an emotional thing for me. I'm looking for some light at the end of this fucking toxic masculine tunnel.
It's like a big counselling service, but we're boxing.
You're looking very bold. I like it.
I won't get run over. Kushti mushti. To being men. There has to be a fucking future. Here we go. Because the planet's fucked without men. Isn't it?